On Father's Day, my wife and her daughter gave me a mug that said "World's Biggest Disappointment." They all laughed. I smiled, said thanks, and cleaned the dishes. That night, I packed my bags. 2 weeks later, my wife posted, "Please, if anyone knows where he is, tell him we just want him home." I didn't disappear. I finally woke up. And now their bad dream starts. Before we go any further, take a second to subscribe, hit the hype button, and like the video. It really helps the channel grow. And tell us in the comments, what would you do in this situation? My name is Michael Birch. Mike to the 3 people who still call me. I'm 39 years old, a systems architect for a healthcare consortium in Denver, and until that Father's Day barbecue, I thought I was doing everything right. I worked 60-hour weeks. I paid the mortgage. I kept my mouth shut when Amanda, my wife of 8 years, made jokes about my hairline or my khakis or the way I chewed. The mug wasn't a surprise. It was a summation. Amanda Lowell Birch, 37, built her entire online persona around being aspirational. Business tips, lifestyle hacks, motivational quotes over sunsets. She had 11,000 Instagram followers and a Pinterest board called Boss Energy. What she didn't have was an income. The consulting gigs she posted about were mostly free coffee meetings. The brand partnerships were sample boxes she photographed and returned. I funded the aesthetic. Riley, her 17-year-old daughter from a previous relationship, had Amanda's cheekbones and twice her cruelty. She treated me like furniture, useful when she needed a ride, invisible otherwise. On Father's Day, she recorded the mug moment on her phone, posted it with the caption, "Stepdad got what he deserved," cry laugh emoji, and got 400 likes before dinner was over. I stood at the sink, washing the plates, listening to them recap the joke in the living room. Amanda's voice carried. God, the look on his face. "Mike, you're such a good sport." I wasn't a good sport. I was a coward. But that was about to change. The barbecue had been Amanda's idea. 30 people in our backyard, neighbors, her book club friends, a few of Riley's classmates. I'd spent the morning setting up tables, stringing lights, prepping the grill. Amanda spent it getting her makeup perfect for the photos she'd post later. When Riley handed me the mug, wrapped in tissue paper with a bow, Amanda was filming on her phone. "Open it, Mike. We got you something special." I peeled back the paper, read the text. "World's biggest disappointment" in bold black letters. Riley snorted. "Do you love it?" Amanda giggled. "It's perfect, right? We saw it online and just knew." Our neighbor Dave laughed. "Brutal. That's cold." I looked at the mug, at Amanda's phone camera, at the 30 faces watching me, waiting for my reaction. I smiled. "Thanks. It's very thoughtful." More laughter. Amanda kissed my cheek for the camera. "You're the best sport, babe." I carried the mug inside, set it on the counter, went back out and flipped the burgers. That night, I waited until the house went quiet. I pulled my duffel from the basement, passport, laptop, external drive with 8 years of saved documents, emails, bank statements, and tax returns. I took my grandfather's watch. I left my wedding ring on the dresser, next to Amanda's empty wine glass. I didn't write a note. Notes are for people who want to explain themselves. I didn't owe anyone an explanation. I drove to a comfort inn near the airport, checked in under my own name, and slept better than I had in 2 years. The next morning, I started the paperwork. Not divorce, not yet. Just separation. Financial separation. I opened a new checking account at a credit union across town, called my HR department, and rerouted my direct deposit. Canceled the auto-pay subscriptions that kept Amanda's lifestyle humming, the meal kit service, the premium yoga app, the cloud storage for her content calendar. I didn't touch anything joint, not yet. I just stopped being the engine. Then I changed my phone plan. New number. Ported my contacts. Updated my work profile. I didn't block Amanda or Riley. I just stopped carrying the phone they knew. It sounds cold. It was. But I wasn't angry yet. I was clinical. I'd spent 8 years as the system that kept their lives running. and systems don't have feelings. They have processes. I gave myself a week to inventory everything. Amanda and I had shared passwords, not because I asked, but because she was careless. Her laptop auto-saved every login, email, cloud storage, banking. I didn't hack anything. I just logged in the same way I had when she'd asked me to find a receipt or download a photo. Except now I wasn't helping. I was documenting. Her email folders were a goldmine, not because she was covering her tracks, but because she wasn't. She didn't think I'd ever look. There was a calendar entry from 3 weeks earlier. Class reunion, cherry emoji, 2 hours blocked on a Saturday night. Innocent enough. Except the credit card statement showed a $7,900 charge to a boutique travel agency the same week. The confirmation email, auto-forwarded to her cloud, showed 2 round-trip tickets, Denver to San Diego. Dates matched the reunion weekend. The second passenger, Brandon Keller. I didn't know the name. A quick search gave me enough. Owner of a boutique gym chain called Apex Body. 40 years old, divorced. His Instagram was all flexing selfies, motivational captions, and carefully angled photos of his gym locations. 6-pack abs, 73,000 followers. He commented on Amanda's posts semi-regularly. Flame emojis. You're crushing it. Let's collab. Amanda had mentioned him once. Old college friend. They'd reconnected at some networking mixer. She said he was helping her think through a consulting pivot. The pivot, apparently, was horizontal. The hotel they'd booked was a Marriott on the harbor. 5 stars. They checked in Friday, checked out Sunday. Amanda's Instagram story from that weekend showed a sunset and a caption about reconnecting with old friends and rediscovering yourself. No photos of Brandon. But his story, posted 6 hours earlier, showed the same sunset from the same balcony angle. I saved everything. Screenshots, PDFs, receipts. I organized them into folders by date and category. Travel, communications, financial transactions. I didn't know what I'd do with it yet, but I knew I'd need it. I also pulled up our joint banking history. Amanda had been skimming for months. Small transfers, 200 here, 500 there, always with vague descriptions. Target run, girls' brunch, supplies. The total over 6 months was close to $11,000. Meanwhile, I'd been covering 90% of the mortgage, all the utilities, the car insurance, the property taxes. I wasn't just her husband, I was her bank. Day 9. Amanda posted on Facebook. Please, if anyone knows where he is, tell him we just want him home. Mike, if you're reading this, we're worried. We love you. Just come back. We can work this out. 300 reactions, 70 comments, heart emojis and praying hands. Her sister shared it. Riley commented, "We just want to know you're safe, stepdad." I read it from my tablet, still synced to the house Wi-Fi, and laughed until my ribs hurt. Worried. Right. She'd tried calling my old number 4 times in the first 2 days, then gave up. She'd sent one email, "Where are you? This is childish. No follow-up." Riley hadn't reached out at all, but now I was a missing person, a tragedy, a storyline. The comments were predictable. "So sorry you're going through this. Praying for your family. Men can be so selfish." One of her book club friends wrote, "He always seemed so checked out. I hope he's getting the help he needs." Another, "Amanda, you're so strong. You don't deserve this." I didn't respond. Instead, I reached out to Leo Grant, the only friend I'd kept from before Amanda. Leo owned an independent auto shop in Lakewood, the kind of place that still did honest work. He and I used to grab beers on Fridays before Amanda decided my Fridays belonged to her book club adjacent dinner parties. I texted him from the new number. "It's Mike. Long story. You free?" Leo's reply came back in 30 seconds. Always. "Shop or bar?" "Shop." I drove out that afternoon. The garage smelled like oil and burnt coffee. Leo was under a Subaru when I walked in, but he rolled out fast, wiped his hands, and looked me over like a doctor checking for fractures. "You look like hell," he said. "I feel great." He raised an eyebrow. Amanda? I nodded. And Brandon Keller. The gym guy? You know him? I know the type. Leo gestured toward his office, a glorified closet with a desk, a mini fridge, and a calendar from 2019. We sat. He cracked 2 beers and waited. I told him the basics, the mug, the tickets, the reunion that wasn't, the Facebook post. Leo listened without interrupting. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair and stared at the ceiling. So what's the play? I don't know yet. Come on, I can tell by the way you're looking. What look? The one you get when you're 3 steps ahead. He took a pull from his beer. You gonna lawyer up? Eventually. Right now, I'm just making sure she can't say I sabotaged anything. Leo nodded slowly. You need a place to work? Office space, I mean. Somewhere off the grid. You offering? Garage has a back room. Previous owner used it as a break room. It's got a desk, a lock, and Wi-Fi. It's yours if you want it. I looked at him. Why? Because you've been treated terribly for 8 years, and I'm done watching it happen. I took the room. 2 weeks in. The cracks were starting to show. Amanda's Instagram engagement dropped. Without my auto-pay covering the scheduling software, her posts went up late or not at all. The aesthetic suffered. The boss energy dimmed. She started texting my old number again. Mike, this is ridiculous. You're not a child. We need to talk about bills. Bills, not us. Not the marriage. Bills. I didn't answer. Riley tried next. A DM on Instagram. Look, I know you're mad. Mom's sorry. I'm sorry. Can you just come home so we can figure this out? Also ignored. Then Amanda's sister, Vanessa, sent me a Facebook message. Mike, I don't know what's going on, but Amanda's falling apart. Please call her. I almost replied. Vanessa had always been decent to me. But then I remembered the reunion weekend. Amanda had told Vanessa she was going to a business seminar in Boulder. Vanessa had watched Riley that weekend, covered for her without knowing it. So instead of replying, I sent Vanessa a folder. 10 screenshots, the tickets, the hotel booking, the calendar entry, the credit card charge. Brandon's Instagram story next to Amanda's, same sunset, same timestamp, a 2-sentence note. She wasn't at a seminar. She lied to you too. I didn't hear back from Vanessa. But 3 days later, she stopped sharing Amanda's posts. Then she unfollowed her entirely. Amanda posted a vague story. Family isn't always who you're born to. Sometimes it's who you choose. I could read between the lines. Vanessa had confronted her. Amanda was in damage control mode. Good. Day 18. I started tightening the screws. The house was in both our names, but I'd been covering 80% of the mortgage since year 2. Amanda's consulting income was sporadic at best. I wasn't going to stop paying my share, not yet. That would have been sabotage, but I did stop covering hers. I spent an afternoon at Leo's garage drafting the letter with a paralegal I'd consulted through a legal referral service. Cost me $200 for an hour. Worth every penny. The letter needed to be airtight, factual, and completely devoid of emotion. We outlined every shared expense: mortgage, property taxes, utilities, insurance. Then we broke down the payment history for the last 12 months. I'd contributed $11,000 beyond my 50% share. Amanda had contributed nothing beyond the bare minimum when her account had enough to cover it, which was rare. The paralegal, a sharp woman in her early 30s named Jessica, looked over my spreadsheets and whistled. This is pretty one-sided. That's the point, I said. You're well within your rights to adjust this. Legally, you're only obligated for half. She can't claim you're withholding support because you're not. You're just stopping the subsidy. That's what I want. Clean, defensible. She drafted the letter. Formal. No accusations, just math. It noted that effective immediately, I would contribute exactly 50% of all shared household expenses. It included a detailed breakdown showing what that 50% would be each month. It also noted that any expenses beyond that amount were Amanda's responsibility. I sent it certified mail, required signature. Amanda signed for it 3 days later. Her response came within an hour, a text to my old number, which I still monitored even though I never replied from it. "Are you serious right now? You're really going to do this to me?" I didn't respond. 2 hours later, another text. "Mike, I can't afford this. You know I can't. Please, just call me." Still nothing from me. That night, she posted on Instagram, "It's amazing how people who claim to love you can turn into strangers overnight." The comments were a mix. Some supportive, others starting to question. One caught my eye. "Girl, if he's not paying, maybe it's time to get a real job." Amanda deleted that comment within 5 minutes, but the damage was done. People were starting to ask questions. I also filed the HOA complaint that week. I'd been holding on to it, waiting for the right moment. Our neighborhood had strict rules about noise and parking. Amanda had violated both repeatedly over the last 3 months. I had documentation, photos of cars blocking the cul-de-sac during her evening gatherings, timestamps showing music and voices past 10:30 p.m. on weeknights, decibel readings from a sound meter app on my phone. I'd been collecting it all passively for months, back when I thought I was just being thorough. Turns out I was building a case. I submitted everything to the HOA through their online portal. Polite, professional, just a concerned resident noting violations. The HOA board reviewed it in their monthly meeting, sent Amanda a formal written warning 3 days later. She posted a story. Some people have nothing better to do than police how others live their lives. Sad. But she stopped hosting gatherings, at least for a while. I watched from Leo's garage, refreshing her Instagram every few hours, and felt nothing but cold satisfaction. Day 21. Brandon became the next problem. I'd been tracking him passively since the airport encounter, but now I needed to go active. His gym chain had 3 locations. The flagship was in Cherry Creek, Denver's high-dollar district, upscale, expensive memberships, clientele who paid for the aesthetic as much as the workouts. He was gearing up to open a 4th location in Boulder. His Instagram was full of construction updates, investors touring the site, renderings of what the space would look like, a ribbon-cutting date set for 2 weeks out. I started with public records, business licenses, building permits, health and safety inspections, all of it available through the city's online portal for a nominal fee. The Boulder location had been fast-tracked, permits approved in record time, which raised a red flag. Fast approvals usually mean corners were cut or relationships were leveraged. I filed a public records request for the full documentation. $12 and a 3-day wait. When the file came back, it confirmed my suspicions. The inspection reports were thin. The ventilation system was rated for 40% less occupancy than Brandon was advertising. 2 fire exits were clearly blocked in the construction photos he'd posted himself. I cross-referenced them with the site plan. They didn't match. The electrical panel was another issue, installed by a contractor who had 2 prior code violations on record, both related to commercial properties. I pulled those records too. One had resulted in a temporary shutdown, the other in a fine. None of it was criminal. It was just sloppy. Brandon had prioritized speed over safety, and now it was on record. I filed a formal complaint with the city building inspector. Anonymous. I cited the specific permit numbers, included screenshots from Brandon's Instagram showing the blocked exits, and attached excerpts from the inspection reports highlighting the discrepancies. I didn't editorialize, didn't accuse, just presented the facts and asked for a follow-up inspection. 4 days later, the city sent an inspector to the site. I know because Brandon posted about it. His Instagram story was just him venting. A pointless complaint was filed about our Boulder site, and he claimed that regulators are making it nearly impossible for small businesses to keep going. That's the problem with America. Too much regulation choking people who are trying to build something. The comments were mixed. some supportive, others pointing out that safety regulations exist for a reason. One commenter wrote, "Bro, if the exits are blocked, that's on you. Fix it and stop whining." Brandon didn't reply to that one. The ribbon cutting got postponed, indefinitely. The investors were told it was a temporary delay pending minor corrections. But I knew better. Minor corrections in commercial real estate meant weeks, sometimes months. And every day that location stayed closed was money hemorrhaging. I saved every post, every update, every comment. Brandon's tone shifted over the next few days. Less bravado, more defensiveness. He posted a photo of himself at the gym, lifting weights. Caption, "Setbacks are just setups for comebacks." The comments were supportive, but the engagement was down. People were losing interest, or losing faith. I felt nothing. Just watched the numbers drop and move to the next phase. Day 26. Amanda cracked. She showed up at my office. I still don't know how she found me. Maybe HR. Maybe she followed me one day. Didn't matter. I was in the parking garage unlocking my car when I heard her voice. "Mike." I turned. She looked different, smaller, tired. No makeup, hair in a messy ponytail. Her eyes were red like she'd been crying on the drive over. "We need to talk," she said. "No, we don't." "Yes, we do. You can't just walk away and pretend I don't exist. That's not how marriage works." I almost laughed. Almost. "You want to lecture me about how marriage works?" She crossed her arms, defensive. "I know you're upset about the mug. Riley didn't mean anything by it. She's a teenager. She jokes. You're being dramatic. The mug's not why I left." "Then why? Why are you doing this?" I looked at her. Really looked at her. 8 years. I'd loved her once. Thought I'd spend my life with her. Couldn't pinpoint when that stopped, but it had. "San Diego," I said. Her expression went white, every trace of color gone. "What?" "The reunion. The Marriott on the harbor. Brandon Keller. The $7,900 trip you charged to our joint credit card." She opened her mouth. Closed it. Tried again. "You went through my email? You gave me the password 3 years ago. You told me to use it whenever I needed to find something. I didn't go through anything. I just looked." "That's insane. That's a violation of privacy." "That's evidence." Her eyes filled with tears. Real ones this time, not the performative kind she used for Instagram. "Mike, please, it was a mistake. A stupid mistake. It didn't mean anything. He's just a friend. Friends don't book Harborview suites." It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that. I opened my car door. "And I'm done pretending otherwise." She grabbed my arm. Her grip was tight, desperate. "Mike, don't do this. Please, we can fix this. I'll end it. I'll cut him off completely. I'll do therapy, whatever you want. Just come home." I looked down at her hand on my sleeve. Small fingers. French manicure starting to chip. I used to hold that hand. Used to think it meant safety. Belonging. Now it just felt like a trap. "You already did what you wanted," I said quietly. "Now I'm doing what I want." "Which is what? Revenge? You think ruining me is going to make you feel better? I'm not ruining you. I'm just stopping the payments." She let go of my arm, stepped back. Her face twisted, anger mixing with the tears. "You're a coward. You know that? You couldn't even confront me like a man. You just ran away." "I didn't run. I left. There's a difference." "There's no difference. You're pathetic." I got in the car, closed the door. She stood there, staring at me through the window, mascara streaking down her face. I started the engine and drove away. She didn't follow. That night, she posted on Instagram. "Sometimes the person you'd take a bullet for is the one holding the gun." 400 likes in an hour. The comments were overwhelmingly sympathetic. I read them all. Didn't feel a thing. Day 30. The parking garage incident. I'd been tracking Brandon's schedule through his public posts for 2 weeks. He was obsessive about checking in everywhere. Morning gym session. post-workout smoothie, investor lunch, evening training clients. It was a complete digital footprint, and he handed it over willingly. I noticed a pattern. Twice a month, he flew out of Denver International for consulting gigs in Phoenix. Same airline, same flight. Always Tuesday mornings, 6:50 a.m. departure. He always posted a gym selfie the night before with a caption about grinding and hustling. Then, the morning of, he'd post a photo of his boarding pass or a shot from the airport lounge. I bought a refundable economy ticket on the same flight. Didn't plan to board, just needed it to get through security and access the terminal-adjacent parking structure. I arrived at the airport at 6 a.m., went through security, took the train to the main terminal, then walked to the parking garage. Level 3. Brandon always parked on Level 3, near the elevator. I'd confirmed it from his previous posts. One had shown his Tesla with the level number visible on a pillar in the background. I waited by his car. Black Model S, vanity plate, APX body. He came around the corner at 6:45, rolling a carry-on and typing on his phone. Didn't see me until he was 10 feet away. He stopped, looked up, frowned. "Can I help you?" "I don't think so," I said, "but I thought I'd give you a chance to help yourself." He squinted, trying to place me. Then it clicked. "Oh, you. Amanda's husband. Ex-husband soon." He sighed, ran a hand through his hair. "Look, man, I really don't want drama. I've got a flight to catch. Amanda said you two were separated. She said it was over." "Separated," I repeated. "Is that what she told you?" "Yeah. She said you'd been living separate lives for months, that you were basically roommates." "Funny. She told me you were just a networking contact. Old college friend helping her with business strategy." Brandon shrugged. Didn't even have the decency to look uncomfortable. "I'm not getting in the middle of whatever this is. You want to talk to her, talk to her. I'm just trying to live my life." "By sleeping with married women?" His jaw tightened. "She said she was separated. She lied. That's between you and her." He moved toward his car. I didn't move, just stood there blocking his path to the driver's side door. "You're in my way," he said. "You were in mine first." He dropped the carry-on, stepped closer. 6'2", probably 210, gym muscles and a spray tan. He thought his size mattered, thought he could intimidate me. "Move," he said. "Or what? Or I'll move you." "Go ahead." He shoved me, open palm, right shoulder, hard enough to make a point, not hard enough to actually hurt. I didn't shove back. I stepped to the side, let his momentum carry him forward. He stumbled, overcorrected, and his hip caught the edge of his car door. The impact triggered the horn, a short, loud blast that echoed through the concrete structure. A security guard 40 feet away looked up. Brandon stood up taller, cheeks flushed. "You're absolutely out of your mind." I pulled out my phone, held it up so he could see the screen. "Recording." "I've been recording since you shoved me. You want to try again?" The guard started walking toward us. Brandon grabbed his bag, yanked open his car door, and got in. He peeled out. Tires squealing against the concrete, left rubber marks on the ground. I nodded at the guard. "Just a misunderstanding." He looked skeptical. "You need me to file a report?" "No, I've got it on video. I'll handle it if I need to." He nodded and walked away. I went back to the terminal, got a coffee, and caught the train home. That night, I filed an incident report with airport security, attached the video, noted the time, location, and license plate. They said they'd review it and follow up if necessary. I didn't expect charges, but it was on record, documented. One more piece of evidence that Brandon Keller was aggressive, reckless, and bad at controlling his temper. One more piece I could use later. Day 35. Riley turned on Amanda. Leo told me about it. He'd been scrolling TikTok during his lunch break and saw Riley's face pop up on his For You page. He texted me immediately. "You need to see this." I pulled up TikTok. The video was pinned to Riley's profile, posted an hour earlier. Already at 90,000 views. She was sitting in her car, camera at a bad angle, eyes red from crying. Her voice was shaky but angry. So my mom just screamed at me for like an hour because a brand deal I was supposed to do fell through, she said. And I'm done. I'm done pretending this is normal. She's been using me for content since I was 14. Every post, every collab, every brand thing, it's always about her. Never about me. And now she's pissed because I don't want to post about her new boyfriend's gym? She laughed. Bitter. Yeah, boyfriend, not business partner, not old friend, boyfriend, while she's still married, by the way. And she has the nerve to get mad at me for not wanting to promote his business? Are you kidding me? The comments were exploding. Over 3,000 already. Who's the boyfriend? Your mom is fake. Spill the tea. Riley kept going. I've been her prop for years, her little engagement boost, her aesthetic, and the second I push back, the second I say no, I'm ungrateful. I'm difficult. I'm ruining her opportunities. Well, guess what, Mom? I'm done. Post your own content. Build your own brand. Leave me out of it. She ended the video. It cut to black. I sat in Leo's back office and watched it 3 more times. Within 2 hours, someone had screen recorded it and posted it on Twitter, then Instagram, then Facebook. It spread like wildfire. Amanda's response came 20 minutes after the video went viral. An Instagram story. Calm. Controlled. Classic damage control. My daughter is going through a very difficult time right now. Teenagehood is hard, and I'm doing my best to support her. Please respect our privacy during this. I love her more than anything in this world. Too late. The momfluencer community had already latched onto it. They started pulling Amanda's old posts, looking for inconsistencies, finding them. One account, a watchdog page that called out influencer behavior, posted a side-by-side, a photo of Riley from 2 years ago, smiling at the camera, caption from Amanda. Family first always. The date stamp showed it was posted the same weekend Amanda had been in San Diego with Brandon. The comments were brutal. You're a hypocrite, fake positivity, you used your kid for likes, and now you're surprised she's angry? Amanda's follower count started dropping, 3,000 in 2 days. Her engagement tanked. Posts that used to get 1,000 likes were barely hitting 200. She tried to recover. Posted an apology video, sitting on her couch, no makeup, hair down, looking vulnerable. I know I'm not perfect, she said, voice breaking. I've made mistakes. I'm human. I'm trying to grow and be better, and I really hope that those of you who've supported me will give me the grace to do that. The comments were split, half sympathetic, half calling her out. One stood out. Where's your husband in all this? You keep talking about growth, but you won't address the elephant in the room. Good question. Day 40, the gym shut down. Brandon's Boulder location finally got its revised ribbon-cutting date, 2 weeks after the initial postponement. He'd apparently made enough corrections to satisfy the inspector, or at least enough to get a conditional approval. He promoted it heavily on Instagram. Big event, investors, local business press, city council members, catered food, a whole production. I marked the date on my calendar. The morning of the event, I drove to Boulder, parked across the street from the gym, bought a coffee from a shop with a clear sightline to the entrance. The city inspector showed up at 10 a.m., right on schedule. I'd filed a follow-up complaint 3 days earlier, noting that while some corrections had been made, the ventilation issue remained unresolved based on the specs Brandon had posted in a promotional video. The inspector walked the perimeter, took photos, checked the exits, went inside. I could see him through the windows, clipboard in hand, pointing at things, taking notes. He came back out 12 minutes later, pulled a red tag from his bag, stuck it on the door. Occupancy denied pending corrections. Brandon came outside 30 seconds later, saw the tag, lost it. He shouted at the inspector. I couldn't hear the words, but I could see his face, red, furious, gesturing wildly. The inspector said something, pointed at his clipboard, shook his head. Brandon kept shouting. A reporter from a local business blog was filming the whole thing. She'd been there to cover the opening. Now she was covering the shutdown. The inspector walked away, got in his car, drove off. Brandon stood there staring at the red tag, chest heaving. Then he saw me. I was across the street, just standing there with my coffee, watching. He crossed the street without looking. A car honked. He didn't care. "You did this," he said. "I filed a complaint. The inspector did his job. You're trying to ruin me. I'm making sure you follow the rules. Big difference." He stepped so close I could smell his cologne. Something expensive, overpowering. "You think you're smart?" he said. His voice was shaking. "You're not. You're just a sad little man who can't handle that his wife upgraded. And you're a guy who cuts corners on fire safety and thinks his abs are a business plan." He grabbed my shirt, fisted the fabric, pulled me toward him. "Let go," I said quietly. "Or what? Or I'll have another video. And this time there'll be witnesses." He looked around. The reporter was still there. Camera still rolling. 2 investors were standing by their cars, watching. Brandon let go. Stepped back. His hands were shaking. "This isn't over," he said. "Yeah," I said. "It is. You just don't know it yet." I finished my coffee, tossed the cup in a trash can, walked back to my car. Behind me, I heard the investors talking to Brandon. Their voices were calm but firm. I caught fragments. Need to reassess. Regulatory concerns. Reputational risk. I drove away before I could hear the rest. That night, Brandon posted a photo of himself in the gym, mid-deadlift. The caption, "Real ones no setbacks build character. Fake ones just talk." But his investor update, posted an hour later, told the real story. Due to unforeseen regulatory challenges, the Boulder location opening has been postponed indefinitely. We appreciate your continued patience and support. Translation: We're bleeding cash and the deal's on life support. I saved the post, added it to my folder. One more piece of the puzzle. Day 48, the cruise. Amanda drained the joint savings account. $14,000, left $300. I got the alert on my phone, checked the transaction log, immediate transfer to her personal account. Then, an hour later, a charge to a cruise line. San Diego departure, 7 nights, 2 passengers. Her Instagram post went up that evening. Sometimes you just need to reset. Grateful for new beginnings. Brandon posted a photo of a plane ticket to San Diego. Phoenix meetings wrapped early. Time for some R&R. They weren't even trying to hide it anymore. I called the attorney I'd been consulting with. Martin Reese, mid-50s, sharp, expensive, worth every dollar. "Mike," he said, "what can I do for you?" I outlined what I wanted. The cruise. The investor showcase. The AV setup. The reel. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he was quiet for a moment. "This is aggressive," he said finally. "Is it legal?" "Technically, yes. You're using public information, licensed footage, and material you have legal access to. Nothing you've described crosses into harassment or defamation, assuming everything you present is factual." "It is." "Then you're clear. But Mike, understand what you're doing here. This isn't just about divorce proceedings anymore. You're going scorched earth. Once you do this, there's no walking it back." "I don't want to walk it back." He paused. "All right, I'll draft a letter outlining your legal position in case anyone pushes back. But this is your call." "It is. Then good luck." I hung up and started building the reel. Day 52, I rented space. Brandon's investor showcase was scheduled for the day before the cruise. A last-ditch effort to salvage the Boulder deal. He'd booked an outdoor event space at a hotel near the Denver airport. Rooftop terrace, catered appetizers, a projector setup for a sizzle reel. The venue also rented AV services. I called, said I was coordinating a corporate presentation, and booked an adjacent display screen. Paid in full, $2,000. Signed the contract. All legal. Then I built the reel. I didn't hack anything. I didn't fabricate anything. I just compiled. Public Instagram posts. Brandon and Amanda, same locations, same timestamps. The reunion weekend, the hotel check-in photos pulled from a travel blog Brandon had been tagged in, the cruise booking confirmation, pulled from Amanda's auto-forwarded emails, the Boulder Gym's red tag, photographed from public property, the parking garage incident, pulled from the airport's licensed footage after I filed a request and paid the fee. I added captions. Simple, factual, no editorializing. Slide 1, networking or something else. Photos of Amanda and Brandon, same sunset, same hotel. Slide 2, travel records don't lie. Flight confirmations, hotel bookings, dates highlighted. Slide 3, code violations and shortcuts, the red tag, the inspection report excerpts. Slide 4, aggression on camera, the parking garage clip, Brandon shoving me, the horn blaring. I didn't include narration. Didn't need it. The clips spoke. I rendered the video in 4K, loaded it onto a thumb drive, tested it 3 times to make sure it played without glitches. Then I waited. Day 56. Showtime. The event started at 6 p.m. I arrived at 5:30, dressed in slacks and a button-down, blended in with the investor crowd. No one questioned me. Amanda and Brandon arrived at 6:15. She wore a white sundress. He wore a blazer over a black t-shirt. They looked like they'd already won. The terrace filled up, 30 people, investors, local business press, a few gym members Brandon had invited for optics. Brandon took the mic at 6:30, talked about vision, growth, community. The Boulder setback was just a bump. They'd be open in 30 days. Investors would see returns within a year. Apex Body isn't just a gym, he said. It's a movement. It's about transformation, about becoming the best version of yourself, and I'm honored to have partners who believe in that vision. Applause. Amanda stood near the bar, filming on her phone. The sizzle reel started on the main screen. Gym footage, slow-motion lifting, sweat glistening, inspirational music, Brandon talking about discipline and dedication. Then my screen lit up. It took 10 seconds for people to notice. A woman near the bar glanced over, frowned, nudged her partner. He looked, pulled out his phone. Brandon kept talking, didn't see it yet. Slide 2, the hotel booking. Brandon's Instagram story next to Amanda's. Same sunset, same timestamp, same balcony angle. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Brandon turned, saw the screen, froze mid-sentence. The moderator, a PR rep Brandon had hired, looked between the 2 screens, confused. She said into the mic. Is that part of the presentation? Brandon crossed the terrace in 4 strides. Turn that off. I stepped forward. It's a separate rental, paid for, legal. He saw me. His face went purple. You. Me. An investor, a woman in her 50s with a leather portfolio, approached. Mr. Keller, what is this? Brandon pointed at me. That's my girlfriend's ex-husband. He's been harassing me for weeks, stalking us, filing false complaints. With public records? I held up a folder. Copies of the building complaints, the inspection reports, the parking garage incident report, filed by airport security. Everything on that screen is either public information or licensed footage. I'm happy to provide copies. The investor took the folder, flipped through it. Her expression hardened. Brandon looked at Amanda. She was staring at her phone, scrolling through notifications. Someone had already clipped the reel and posted it online. The comments were pouring in. This is insane, Brandon said. His voice cracked. You're sabotaging me because you can't handle your wife moving on. Ex-wife soon, I said. And I'm not sabotaging you. I'm just showing people who you are. Slide 3 played on the screen. The red tag, the inspection report, the code violations highlighted in yellow. Another investor, a man in his 60s, stepped forward. Brandon, we asked you directly if there were any regulatory issues with the Boulder site. You said no. There weren't, Brandon said. This is just one inspector with a grudge. The report is public record. the man said. Dated 3 weeks ago. Brandon's jaw tightened. I was handling it. By lying to your investors? The woman with the portfolio closed the folder. Mr. Keller, our agreement has a morals clause. Reputational harm gives us discretionary termination rights. And frankly, between the code violations, the aggressive behavior on camera, and whatever this personal situation is, I think we've seen enough. You can't be serious, Brandon said. We'll be in touch. She handed the folder to her associate. They left. 2 more investors followed. Brandon turned to me, shaking. You think you won? I know I did. He came at me. Fast. No posturing this time, just rage. Security stepped in, but not before Brandon lunged. His foot caught the projector cable. He went down hard, face first, into the display board I'd rented. The crash echoed. The terrace went silent. Brandon rolled onto his back, nose bleeding, breathing hard. The display board toppled, cracked down the middle. I walked over, picked up his car keys from where they'd fallen near the shattered board, placed them on the table beside him. Then I leaned down and slapped him. Once. Clean. Open palm. Not hard enough to injure. Hard enough to remember. The sound rang out. Someone gasped. I stood, turned to Amanda. She was frozen, mascara running, phone still in her hand. Thanks for the mug, I said. Turned out to be a measuring cup. I walked off the terrace, past security, past the remaining investors, past the reporter who was filming everything, and into the parking garage. Behind me, I heard the moderator's voice, shaky on the mic. I think we're going to call it a night. I got in my car, drove to Leo's shop, and didn't look back.